Assalamu alaikum, I'm Munib Ali. Welcome to another video by QuranStudy.co.uk. Before we start today's video, I just want to thank all of you for the fantastic response we received to the previous video, which was about sectarianism and what the Quran says about the divisions which currently exist in the Muslim community. I was so glad to see so many comments on the YouTube channel, but also on our Facebook group page and also through WhatsApp as well. So thank you very much for that. If you haven't seen last week's video, please click on the link you can see over here. I've also provided the link to the video in the description to this YouTube video itself down below. Please do continue to provide comments to us because your feedback is so useful. Now, today's video is also related to divisions. But moving forward from what Allah says about the creation of divisions and sects, we're going to look at what Allah says is the solution. So let's get started. You may remember last week, the main verse that we looked at was from Surah Al-Imran, which is chapter 3, verse 103. So here is the verse. وَأْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. Now, we spent quite a lot of time in last week's video thinking about and studying through other verses what Allah means by وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا, which is an instruction not to become divided. Today, we're going to look at the earlier part of this verse. وَأْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا, because this contains the solution. Let's break it down word by word. Okay, firstly, let's look at وَأْتَصِمُوا. The three root letters which are used to derive this word are Ain, Swad, Mim. And the meaning of these root letters is to hold tight, to hold something firmly and not to let go of it. It's when you keep hold of something despite the challenges you face, despite any diversions, any distractions, any temptations, you hold on to something with all your might. We're going to come back to this in a little bit. The next word, bihablillahi. Bihabli is made up of the root letters Ha, Ba, Lam. And this means rope. And that's why you see in the translation, hold firmly to the rope of Allah. But we're going to go much deeper. The meaning of these root letters, yes, it's rope, but it's also about obtaining an assurance or a promise of safety, a bond, a covenant, a promise, a contract of safety. And this will make sense in a little bit, so just bear with me for now and just follow me. Another meaning is cord, and that's why this word, for example, in Arabic is used to describe the umbilical cord, hablun siriyun. It's a cord which is a lifeline. In this case, if you say hablun siriyun, it's a lifeline for the unborn child. Again, this will make sense as we study this a little bit further. So let's keep going. The question we have to ask ourselves is, what is the rope? What is the rope of Allah? To answer this, I'm actually going to go back to the first word we just looked at, which is wa'tasimu, which, remember, means to hold something tight, firmly, and not to let go. Okay, let's look at Surah Al-Hajj, which is chapter 22, verse 78. Allah says, wa'tasimu billahi huwa mawlakum fani'mal mawla wa ni'man nasir. So here, rather than wa'tasimu bihablillahi, it's wa'tasimu billahi. Hold tightly to Allah. Allah is your protector, an excellent protector, an excellent helper. There are two other verses in the Quran, if you want to refer to, where Allah says wa'tasimu billahi again. In chapter 4, verse 146, and in chapter 4, verse 175. So, hold fast to Allah. How do you hold fast to Allah? We cannot see Him physically, so how do we hold fast to Allah? What is the connection that Allah has given us that allows us to hold on to Him? What is that connection? Think about that. It is His revelations, His directions, instructions and guidance. That is the connection between us and Allah. I hope that makes sense. Now, if that is the connection, where do we find Allah's revelations? They're found in this book, the Qur'an. So when we are told to hold on to Allah, we're told to hold on to the Qur'an. This is the rope of Allah. The Qur'an is the rope that Allah is commanding us to hold on to tightly, hold fast, and not to let go of this. Now, that doesn't mean we hold it like this. No, it's not physically holding it like this. It means we have to stick to the directions, instructions, and guidance which is contained within the Qur'an. This is the rope, the directions, the guidance, and instructions which all the prophets held on to in their lives. And this is what we have to do as well. Now, let's not move on. Let's think further to help us to apply this in practice. We have to think when we're studying the Qur'an, why has Allah used the word rope for the Qur'an? Allah does not use any words in the Qur'an without purpose, as I've explained in some of my other videos. It's one of the principles of studying the Qur'an. We have to understand that there is a reason why Allah has used the word rope to describe the Qur'an. What can we learn from this word that Allah has used? So to do this, let's have a look at the characteristics of the rope. I'm going to go through 6 of these, and this will help us to learn why Allah has used the word rope and what we have to therefore do with that. So the first characteristic about the rope is that it is very strong and it is very difficult to break. It is a set of interwoven strands which give it perfect balance and strength. So what is the lesson for us? What this is telling us is that the individual strands of the Qur'an, the individual instructions, directions, and guidance of the Qur'an, they have been interwoven into this book to give it perfect balance. The Qur'an has been perfected in this way. It is complete and it is powerful. The second characteristic of a rope, and it's connected to its strength, is that it is used as a lifeline. Think about rescue organizations like rescue helicopters. They use a rope to rescue people, to give them a lifeline, to bring them to safety. That's how strong a rope is. Think about mountain climbers. A rope is a lifeline for them. They know if they're in trouble, that if they do not hold on to the rope, they will lose their lives. They hold on to this rope no matter what. So what's the lesson for us? It means the Qur'an is something which is a rope that's been thrown to us by Allah. It's a lifeline that's been thrown to us. It is there to bring us out of darkness into light, out of ignominy, disgrace and shame, to something which is harmonious and peaceful. Just think about the current state of Muslims. In fact, don't just think about the current state of Muslims, think about the current state of mankind. Think about the inequality, think about the wars, the conflicts, think about the destruction mankind causes to itself. Mankind is in a state of darkness. What Allah is telling us by describing the Quran as a rope is that the Quran is a lifeline to bring us out of that. Okay, the third characteristic, which is also linked to strength, is that you trust the rope. You trust its strength. There is a bond between you and the maker of the rope. When you are a mountain climber, you are placing trust that the maker of the rope has made it strong enough that's going to bring you to safety if needed. That if you hold on to it, you will survive. Here, we have the creator of the universe who has given us this rope. If we truly believe, if we truly have Iman, we will trust that when Allah says this is a rope and that this will be our salvation, that it is the truth. We trust that the Creator's guarantee that if we stick to the Quran, we will reach our destination, which results from being on the straight path, is the truth. So long as we hold on to this rope, no matter what the situation is. We have to remember this bond between us and Allah, this trust, this Iman, that we should have no doubt in this book and the results it will give us if we hold on to it. The fourth characteristic of a rope is that the individual strands of a rope are not by themselves as strong, and that you have to hold on to the entire rope to secure yourself. When you hold on to a rope, you hold on to the entire circumference. You don't take it apart and say, well, I'll hold on to this strand and I'll hold on to this strand and that will be fine. No, you hold on to the entire rope. What's the lesson from that for us? Why is Allah calling this a rope? It's Quran. Allah is telling us that we cannot pick and choose a few parts of the Quran to hold on to. No. We have to submit ourselves fully to the Qur'an, to all the directions and instructions in the Qur'an, if it is going to be our salvation. Submit fully. The fifth characteristic is that the strength of a rope comes in the pull action, not the push action. If you have a rope and you push it, it loses the tension and it will not serve its purpose of securing you. So the lesson for us about the Qur'an is that Allah has now given this to us. It is now our choice whether we hold on to that rope and get pulled to the destination which Allah promises us. Allah has given us freedom of choice. And the sixth characteristic, which I will end this with, is that a rope is also used to bind things together. You can use a rope, put it around various things and bind it together tightly. So the lesson for us is that the Qur'an, guidance and the instructions in this book is what will unify mankind. That's what will bring people together. And that brings us nicely on to the next word in the verse that we were focusing on, which is jami'an, all together. What Allah is telling us, instructing us, is that we have to hold on to the Qur'an together. Whichever way the Qur'an directs you, you move in that same direction together. Everyone has to move in the same direction. We have to be united in our beliefs, in our character traits, in our actions, and in the societies that we're trying to form. Allah is saying, do not be drawn apart. Divisions draw us apart. Now let's bring it all together. So firstly, can you see how we just took one part of this verse and we have spent 2 video sessions already on it? That's how you study the Qur'an. You have to break it down. You have to think about it, ponder over it, think about why Allah has used particular words. Use your common sense, use your experience. That's how you study the Qur'an. I hope this is proving helpful to you. And have you seen how in this one part of the verse there are so many lessons for us? Just by using the word rope, Allah has given us so many lessons. Will we take heed? And let me just say to you, and please understand this, only by studying the Qur'an in this way can the Qur'an's messages get into the depths of our hearts and really bring about change in our character and in our actions. Only then will we develop our souls, our nafs, in the way that Allah commands us and wants us to. So in summary, what we've learnt today from studying just a few words from this verse is that Allah is instructing us to hold on tight with all our might to the Qur'an, to the directions and instructions and guidance in the Qur'an. Allah is saying it doesn't matter what your situation is. A lot of us say, look, we're living in a very difficult environment. We live in non-Muslim societies, or the society is corrupt, so it's very difficult to follow Islam to the letter. Allah is saying no. You have to hold on to the Qur'an. If you want to succeed in this life, then you must hold on to the Qur'an through every situation. A mountaineer that's holding onto a rope will not say, well, it's quite windy, I don't really think I can hold on to this rope. No, the mountaineer holds on to the rope until he or she is secure. That's how we have to hold on to the Qur'an. We learned today that the Qur'an will bring us out of darkness and into the light. It will bring us out of a bad situation into a good one. It will give us true peace in this life and in the hereafter. We also learned that sticking to the Qur'an is a reflection of our iman, of our trust in Allah, the creator of this rope. We learned that we cannot hold on to just parts of the Qur'an. We have to hold on to all of it in its entirety. Hold the rope by its full circumference, not by the individual strands. We also learned that the Qur'an is what we have to use to bind people together, to unify people. Brothers and sisters, if we are to rid ourselves of the divisions that we have in the Muslim world and in the wider world, we have to come back to the Qur'an. And the only way we can do that, we have to understand what Allah is telling us in the Qur'an. And for that, we have to study it, just like we are doing at the moment. We have to follow it without compromise. We have to use it to unify our communities. Hold on to the rope. Hold on to the Qur'an with all you've got. Now, before I go on to today's interesting fact, please, if you found this video useful, then please click on like and subscribe to our channel. As you know, we are releasing videos on the Qur'an every week on Mondays. And importantly, please provide comments. Your feedback is so important to us. So on today's topic, for example, please tell me what you thought. Tell me about the challenges that you're facing in sticking to the Qur'an. Also, if there are other topics you would like me to cover in these videos, Let me know through the comment section. I will respond to you. Right, now today's interesting fact. Did you know that the rope is not just mentioned in the Qur'an, it is also mentioned in the Torah and the Bible? The rope has always meant God's revelations, God's support, the promise and hope that comes through God's revelations. Allah has given this same message from the beginning of time through all of his prophets. Now imagine if all people to whom revelation has come were united by holding on to the rope of Allah. See you next week. Assalamu alaikum.
أفلا يتدبرون القرآن